when you ask someone to help you do something that is also their responsibility, you reinforce the system or the environment that results in inequity. The system where overworking and overfunctioning becomes your baseline. And that's not what you want. That's not helpful. You're listening to the Life Edit Project podcast, where busy, ambitious high achievers get the tools they need to fight perfectionism and overwhelm so they can smash their goals without all the drama. I'm your host, recovering overachiever turned professional life coach, Elizabeth Burrows. Let's get to it. Good day, good people. Welcome to the Life Edit Project podcast. As always, I'm your favorite life coach and podcast host, Coach Elizabeth, and this is episode 57 of the show. I think technically this is episode 18 of season 2, and I can't believe that. That's fun. That's fun, y'all. I'm churning these episodes out. Who knew? So at some point, I will take a break between season 2 and season 3, like I did last year. I don't know what that's going to look like just yet, or exactly when that's going to happen. But I can tell you this, I will keep the podcast active with weekly updates during the break. So essentially, it'll be a series of bonus episodes that are a lot easier for me to produce, so it feels like a break, but it'll still be really valuable for you all, my lovely listeners. I have some thoughts about what that break is going to look like, but I haven't finalized my plans just yet. So you're just going to have to stay tuned in to figure out what kinds of fun surprises I have in store for you between season 2 and season 3. But for right now, we're still smack dab in the middle of, not in the middle, but for right now, we are still in season 2. And I do have several more episodes that I want to get out to you before I wrap this season, including some fun conversations with special guests. So I think so far I've only had one guest interview on the show this season, which is less than I had originally planned. And there's at least like 3 more guest conversations that I'm trying to make happen. So I'm really excited about those interviews, those conversations. But for now, for today, it's still just you and me, my friend. Yeah. And today I want to have a serious conversation. This is going to be a little bit of tough love. It might hurt a little bit. But like everything I do, I'm coming at you with nothing but love, and I have only your best interests at heart. So grab a fuzzy blanket and a warm beverage or whatever you need to do to make yourself comfortable. And let's talk about how sometimes asking for help is a bad idea. Ready? Let's go. So I want to dive into the deep end here and just say this right up front. It's not always a good idea to ask for help. And I know that's a controversial thing for me to say because I'm a life coach and because my work is literally centered around helping people reach their goals and create the lives that they desire for themselves. But I promise by saying this, I'm not contradicting myself. Let me explain. Actually, let me back up and offer a bit of a disclaimer before I explain what I mean. I am well aware that one of the most common problems my clients have is that they don't ask for enough help. And that's partly due to the undercurrent of perfectionism and overachieving that drives so much of the way they show up in life. So many of us, and I say us because I myself am a recovering perfectionist and a recovering overachiever, right? So this used to be me. So many of us walk around with this false belief that if we don't do the thing, if we don't reach the goal or accomplish the achievement all by our lonesome, then it doesn't count. Or maybe we can allow ourselves to take credit and say that we did the thing, but if we needed help to do it, then it's not worth as much as it would be if we did it by ourselves. So for all of you recovering perfectionists and overachievers, let me be real clear with this. Lean in. You deserve all the help. And it's important that you learn how to get good at asking for and accepting help. Needing help, wanting help, and getting help is not in and of itself a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means that you're human. And part of being a human is being in community with other people and working collectively. You're not supposed to be able to do everything alone. And so asking for help is just going to be a part of a complete and comprehensive human experience. And there are so many wonderful things that, yes, you can do by yourself, but they are made better by having the support of other people. If I can use an analogy, a rope made of many small strands that are braided together and twisted together forms a much stronger rope than a single strand of the rope material that's made of the same stuff. And I feel like I kind of bungled that analogy because I don't know enough about ropes to make that make sense, but hopefully you get what I mean. Okay, here's another one. 2-ply toilet paper is stronger than 1-ply toilet paper. You get that. You know what that means. Okay, it's the same principle at work, right? There's a proverb, an African proverb, many hands makes light work, right? Yes. So yes, I believe in asking for help, accepting it, receiving it. And I don't believe that being the recipient of help or getting help, I don't believe that that makes what you do any less significant or any less impressive or any less valuable. And that being said, asking for help is not always the play. It's not always the move you want to make. It's not always a good idea. And so I'm going to give you 3 scenarios, 3 types of situations where asking for help is actually the opposite of helpful to you. Number 1, asking for help is not the move when what you're asking for is not actually help, but rather you holding someone accountable for a responsibility that is already theirs. Bloop, you missed it. Let me run that back and remix it so that you can hear it, so that it can sink in. You should not be asking for help when the thing you are asking the other person to do is to handle something that is already their responsibility. When you do this, you're using the word help incorrectly, because that's not what help means. And I've seen this happen so often with my clients. And do you want to know where this comes up the most often? It's when women are talking about sharing household and or parenting responsibilities with their partners. And yeah, I know, like, this episode is coming just on the heels of Father's Day weekend here in the States. And so I promise you, I'm not trying to drag the dads that might be listening. I love y'all dads, I do. But I want y'all to hear me. When a grown man participates in the maintenance, cleaning, or management of the place where he lives, or when he participates in the rearing of children that are under his care, whether he's the bio dad or not, he is not helping the woman. He is not helping his partner. He's just adulting or parenting. You don't get bonus points for doing the bare minimum. It's literally the job description, right? Dads don't help watch their children. They don't help put them to bed. They participate in those activities. Men don't help their partners with chores or with bills. They participate in those things. Because in a 2-parent household or in a household with 2 able-bodied adults, those things are shared responsibilities. They belong to both of y'all. Even if the dynamic of your relationship is such that you acknowledge that the two of you have different strengths or different preferences, and you decide to split these shared responsibilities and tasks in a specific way, none of that negates the fact that those things are still shared responsibilities. When you ask someone to help you do something that is also their responsibility, you reinforce the system or the environment that results in inequity. The system where overworking and overfunctioning becomes your baseline. And that's not what you want. That's not helpful. I know it's not what you want, because that is one of the problems that my clients ask me to help them solve over and over again. There's so much on my plate. I feel like I don't have enough time to do all of these things. That's because you're doing more than what you should be doing. You're not letting other people, the people around you, actually handle their own responsibilities. If you just take care of what belongs to you and you let other people handle the things that belong to them, you don't have to do as much as you think you need to do, and therefore you need less help. That's how that works. Don't argue with me. Argue with somebody else. This is my show. Okay. Number 2, asking for help is not the play when what you really need to do is let go. Hear me out. Yes, it's true that getting the proper help and support is a great way to expand your capacity to do things, to reach goals, and to just generally kill it in the game. But the name of the game is to do more of what you love, more of what grows you and stretches you, more of what fills you up, to be more in alignment with your purpose, and to show up every day as the highest version of yourself. And you can't do that if you insist on using all of your capacity on doing things that drain you, on doing things that don't move you closer to your goals, or things that actually take you further away from your goals, and on doing things that just generally lower your vibe, right? You don't need help perpetuating situations that don't serve you. You just need to let those things go. Let me give you an example from my real life, a real life example here. So last year, I joined the board of a small local nonprofit organization that's doing some good work in the community and has a mission that I really absolutely adore. Now, I didn't seek them out. I wasn't looking for opportunities. The founder of the organization is someone that I've known for years, and we've done some things together in the past, and our paths happened to cross, and we had reconnected. And she told me that they were looking for some fresh faces and some new board members, and I guess I seemed to fit the description of what they were looking for. So she asked if I would join the board, and I agreed. Unfortunately, after a couple of months, my availability changed. I had less capacity. And while the board itself wasn't asking for a hefty time commitment, it was still requiring more of a commitment than what I could justify based on what my priorities were. Now, I could have asked for help. I could have asked my husband to shift some things around in his schedule to accommodate me making more of the meetings and doing more volunteer work with this organization. I maybe could have asked the rest of the board to change the meeting schedule, right? And to adjust to make it easier for me to participate. I could have tried a bunch of different things to try to make it work, but it would not have been worth it because it was still something that I just needed to let go of. I'm already on the board of another organization that I'm far more committed to. I have other ways that I'm volunteering and giving back to my community, and the work that I do every day actually supports the same mission as this other organization, right? Like being on this board was literally extra credit, but I'm already getting an A. And also, it doesn't have to be me. I don't have to be the one filling that board seat. There's absolutely someone else that can do the job, that can fill the seat and give them the kind of perspective and leadership that they're looking for. It's not me or nothing. I didn't need help figuring out how to make it work. I just needed to be more like Elsa and let it go. So that's the second scenario where asking for help is not a good idea. The third and final scenario that I'm going to talk about is this. Asking for help is not the move you want to make when making the ask or accepting the help means that you have to violate your own boundaries. You know that phrase, all money ain't good money? Well, all help ain't good help. And not all people can be trusted with the ask, with your request for help. Some people offer help that comes with conditions that go against your values or conditions that just cost too much for you. Some people offer help so that they can get a closer look at your vulnerabilities and your weaknesses. Some people will gladly give you help if it means that they get to hold it over your head forever and throw it back in your face whenever it suits them. And some people will offer help with no hesitation, but also with no intention of actually following through, right? Their help is really just sabotage in disguise. So when asking for help means that you have to violate your own boundaries and put yourself at a risk of being hurt or at risk of not remaining safely guarded or sacrificing your own well-being, that is not the time to ask for help. That's the time to take care of yourself. That's the time to help yourself be all right. So this podcast episode, this is me going on record to say that asking for help is not a universally good idea. But I'm also not trying to discourage you from asking for help. In fact, quite the opposite. I want you to know when asking for help is helpful to you so that you can do that more often. If getting more help and support is what you want, book a sales call with me to sign up for my one-on-one coaching program. When you work with me as your life coach, I will help you build a network of support for yourself that becomes a safe, reliable source of help for you when you need it. That's totally possible for you. And I'm committed to helping you make it a reality for yourself. So just tap the link that's in the show notes to schedule your call with me today. I cannot wait to help you. All right, y'all. I will be back in your ears next week with more juicy goodness and maybe not so much tough love next time. And before I go, do your girl a solid and leave me a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts to help more people find the show. You see what I did there? I just asked for help because that's a good idea. Okay, that's all for today. I'm out for real this time. In the meantime, practice letting go of something that no longer serves you instead of fighting so hard to keep it going. All right? Peace. Hey, thanks for tuning into this week's episode. If you have a question or a favorite insight from today's conversation, I would love to hear from you. Send me a message on social media. I'm in all the places. My handle is @LifeEditProject, all one word. And of course, my accounts are linked up in the show notes to make it easy for you. So holla at your girl. I'll be back in your ears next week with a fresh episode. Make sure that you are subscribed to the Life Edit Project podcast wherever you like to listen so that you don't miss a thing. Until then, peace.